everyone. How are you guys doing this morning? Excellent. Is anyone not awake? Okay, so we have a few who are not awake. Everyone else awake? Everyone had your morning coffee or your morning donut or whatever that looks like? Cool. Well, I'm Ryan Hendrick. I'm the 5th and 6th grade pastor. Some of you who know me, you already know that. If you didn't know me, now you know that. I'm Ryan Hendrick, 5th and 6th grade pastor. And I'm here with Chris Burch, the 7th and 8th grade pastor. We are just excited about our kids moving up. Any of our 5th graders moving into Switch? Where are you guys at? You are moving into Switch, and you are now in Switch, and you're a Switch student. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you guys. And what about you're moving into Axis? You're going into 7th grade. They grow up so fast. It's incredible. It's humbling. It's so sad when I lose my kids, but at the same time, it's great when some of my kids come back in high school and they're like, hey, I want to serve in Switch. It's even better when I get to say, yeah, I want you. But it's great to see you guys. It's great to have you guys here. And we're really excited about the stuff that we want to share. Burch, you want to pray for us?
Start us out in prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you so much for this day. Just thank you for the ability to come in here and talk about this. I praise the parents right now as they are taking time to really figure out what's going on, what we're doing here as a church to help these kids grow in their relationship. And thank you for bringing them in. And thank you for donuts, a simple thing, but we can serve those today and just have a good time. God, you're awesome, and you love us. Amen.
Amen. So we just kind of wanted to start it off by giving you a little bit of the skinny about who I am, who Burch is, because for those of you, you might have had, the occasional conversation with me or something along those lines, but you might not know my story, you might not know my heart, that type of thing. And students, you might have gone through Switch this time with me, 2 years, but maybe you didn't know this stuff. So I just want to kind of give you guys a basic idea of my story and who I am and that type of thing. So Ryan Hendrick, I'm originally from California. So a lot of people will say things about California, and I'll say, nothing good comes from there. And then it's not so later that they realize, oh snap, Ryan's from California. But I was around 22. The family was packing up and moving. It was right when the recession was about to hit, actually. And the family said, hey, we're gonna go to the East Coast. We're gonna leave in Greenville, wherever that is, in South Carolina. And my aunts and her family are out here, and they just said, hey, do you want to come? And I was like, well, I was 22 at the time, so I said, I got nothing better to do, so may as well change the scenery, change the pace. Let's go ahead and do that. Moved out here. That was about 13 years ago. And for those of you who can do math, that means I'm 35, an old man. My hip is giving out pretty soon. But it's been 13 years or so, and now Greenville's home. I love this area. I think it's great. We're booming. I think we're getting a little too big for our britches, but we'll see how all that shakes out. But it's great to be out here. It was actually crazy to see the color green, because I'm from California, but I'm from the desert. Like, everything's brown. So like a rich, vibrant green. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm not used to this. So were you like coming up to say your part? No, I'm not done yet. I was just looking at you. That's okay. It's conversation music, Eric. I know, right? Just some little snippets about me. I would say that overall, I'm a nerd who is athletic. If you are Facebook friends with me, you'll see like Spartan race photos and things like that. I've done around 10 of those. I like to throw axes and things like that. I like the type of activities. But at the same time, I like movies, I like video games, I like reading. I like the intellectual stimulation, that type of thing. I told the kids this last week, but if you want to see me at my most opinionated, talk to me about truth or talk to me about movies, stories, that type of thing. I love movies, and I'm I dive in. Anyone who's ever had any kind of conversation with me, you know that type of stuff. And then basically what God's teaching me during this time, my testimony, I'll give you the quick version. I grew up in a Christian home, but God wasn't a person for the majority of my life. God was just some entity that was out there. And I just followed the rules so he wouldn't get mad at me. And that's kind of what I wouldn't say that my parents instilled that in me, but that's like the churches that we went to and things like that. That's just kind of what it felt like. That's what I took away from it. And so it wasn't until, part of the reason why I love movies so much, It wasn't until I saw the movie The Passion of the Christ. Anyone seen that movie? Really difficult movie to watch. But when I saw that movie and I saw what Jesus was willing to suffer for me, that was kind of the point where I was like, it's either I'm all in or I'm not in. And so that's when I pretty much made the decision, well, I'm going to follow God now. And then it's just been the process of, surrendering different parts of my heart, giving those things over, allowing God to fill those different parts, to heal those broken parts. It's been a great, difficult journey, but it's been cool to see what God is doing. And something that I love to tell the kids is the more I've lived for God, the more sense it makes. What's that? I know, right? Where it's...
We're not used to people talking to us.
Usually the kids are like, what? Unless I directly address them, or I'm like, anyone seen Captain America? They're like, ah! So, but for real, it's one of those things where it's crazy to me that God has to persuade us that his way is the right way. You know what I mean? That's just our hearts. We need to be filled with him. So really the thing that God's persuading me about in this phase of my life is his grace. I'm very much about discipline, and I was definitely, I struggle with legalism and stuff like that. So God just filling me with his grace, and the pendulum is starting to go toward the middle. And hopefully it stays in the middle where it's that balance of, truth, grace, bam. It's all in the middle. So, and then my last thing, I want to give you guys 2 truths and a lie and just see what you guys think, all right? So here they are. Have you guys played this game before? 2 truths and a lie. Anyone not played this game? Basically, I'm giving you 3 things, and you're trying to figure out what the lie is. That means the other 2 things are true, all right? So the 2 truths and a lie. Okay, number 1, a teacher gave me a black eye. Number 2, I won a male beauty pageant. Number 3, I got in trouble for dancing in a women's restroom. So, who thinks it's number 1, a teacher gave me a black eye? You think that's my lie? Okay. Number 2, you think that my lie is I won a male beauty pageant. That kind of hurts. It's like you guys are saying, not that one. 3, you think my lie is I got in trouble for dancing in a women's restroom. The lie is the 3rd one. I got in trouble for dancing in a women's restroom. Fun fact, that was my brother. The best lies are the ones with a little bit of truth in them. Kids, don't listen. Earmuffs. But yeah, my 1st grade teacher gave me a black eye. I got sent to the back room. I got in trouble, and then I went under a table because I was like, I'm going to scare her when she comes back in. 1st grade logic, that's how you roll. And then she was taking forever to come back, and I peeked my head out like, what's taking her so long? And she came in at that exact moment and smacked me in the face with the door. And I screamed bloody murder. Squaw! And I've never heard someone say, I'm sorry so many times in such a small time frame. Got a black eye from that. And then the male beauty pageant, it was in high school. I was the one and only Mr. Knight of my high school. They did it once, and then they never did it again. I take that with pride, but you never know. Chris Burch, 7th grade master.
Hey everyone, for me, I was born here in Greenville, South Carolina, so I was raised here, homegrown, and really haven't really gone away. There's a part of my life where I thought I was going to, when I was starting to figure out this job, where was God going to take me to be a youth pastor, and I put in job application anywhere from Florida to California to New York, and he led me back to my home church for a few years until I came back here. But a fun thing, I started coming here in 2011 as the 7th and 8th grade ministry associate, a cool name for an intern. So I started here as an intern for this job in the same room, and eventually our boss, J.C. Thompson, the best boss in the world, what? He's back there. He hired me, so appreciate that. That was cool. And this is just something I've always wanted to do. This is something that I know since 10th grade. I was like, I want to be a youth pastor. I know for a fact that this is something I know that God has told me to do, and I'm going to do it. It's something I absolutely love. Basically, middle school is a tough time. I know for me, a lot of stuff happened I'd say I knew who God was. I knew who he was. I could tell you stories, but I didn't have a relationship with him. So, like a lot of people, I feel like sometimes we've been going to the church for a long time. We can recite stories. And just because you can recite a story doesn't mean you believe it or you truly know who he is. So I had this knowledge of God in about 5th grade. I went to a Baptist church up on a hill, red carpet, had to dress up, looked good every week. But it was one of those where you're sat there and you're told, like, this is who God is, how amazing he is. But there was never this push of, like, knowing and loving him and having this relationship with him. A little bit of my testimony in 6th grade, something crazy happened. We had a gas leak at my house and it exploded. Like, exploded. Exactly what you think of like an action movie. And we lost everything. We lost, the only thing I had was the clothes on my back. I was in school, I was playing the trombone. Imagine in 6th grade, I was really fat, it was really funny. Boom, 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 boom. And I got called to the principal's office to go, and my aunt, who never picks us up, came and picked me up in a SpongeBob nightgown. So like immediately I'm like, something is off, just a little off. And then we went immediately to Pascal Elementary School, which was right beside to pick my sister up. And I was like, hey, something's really wrong. And they were like, hey, your house is burnt down. She broke it to me really harsh. You should not do it the way she did. She turned around and she goes, right before she left the car, she was like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your house burnt down, there's nothing left. I'm gonna go to your sister. And I walked out. I was like, what? So that was crazy. Like, we lost everything, except for my weird collection. A fun fact, I'm gonna give you guys fun facts. I just remember this one. I used to collect Beanie Babies. How cool was I? They were like Pokemon, except they were cool. You could actually see them, so it makes sense. Guys, the Bears. Does anyone know anything about Beanie Babies? We're taking a weird turn here. Okay, we're not talking about a lot of stuff. So what's the best Beanie Babies? Someone said it. You gotta say it. Be proud. You're like, you don't want to say it too loud. The which ones? No. So, someone said it. Okay. Someone said the Bears. Okay. Well, the Bears are the best Beanie Babies. Actually, right before the Beanie Baby, they got canceled like 3 times. Before they canceled, they had a black bear. It was called the Int. It was the last Beanie Baby they ever made. I had it. I kept my Beanie Babies, the good ones. Oh, man. I've never told the story before. In a plastic box case. So, like, we had the good ones in a protected box plastic case. And those suckers did not melt. So you gotta imagine, like, everything in the house, except for 2 toilets and the chimney, fireproof, who knew? And my little Beanie Babies, like, I was like, well, it's not all bad, but that's the only thing that survived. But going from that point to 8th grade, so this is a reason I love middle schoolers. This is such a huge time in your lives. Parents, in your lives too, because you get to really push and encourage, like, is this the relationship you want with God? Like, this is at this point where you're trying to help the kids understand it's not the parents' relationship with God, it's your personal relationship with God growing right now. And I love Switch, because Switch is encouraging and pushing the students, and when they get to access this early time, like, is this something you want? Because when we get to high school, that's scary to parents, but as soon as a kid gets a car, they're deciding where they go now. And you can help and push and encourage them, but when they get a car, they can be like, yeah, I'm totally going to Crave, the high school service, love Gavin Nunnery. And they don't go there. So it's hard for this, a tough time. But right now, it's really pushing them, encouraging them to know who Christ is. And 8th grade for me, that's when I found out I had a real relationship with Jesus. I knew who he was at this point. I was praying, I was reading my Bible, I was in a small group, and that encourage, super important. And you know what's special about small groups right now, Brian?
What would that be, Chris?
Their sign-ups are now live. So if you guys want to sign up for a small group, super encourage you to push your kids toward that. Get to know people if they're a little shy, but also growing in your faith, the most important thing, growing to know our Father who loves us the most. That's really all I got. The embarrassing story of beanbags, I did not know I was going to tell that one, so you're welcome. I'll have to. I petted a rhino in Africa. That was super cool. Another fun fact. That's all I got. Brian, let's talk about something that's tough right now. COVID-19.
Yeah, so things look different. Pretty much for the foreseeable future, we have blended switch and axis, so we call it Swaxis affectionately. So that's just what it looks like. Basically, I made the decision. So we were talking about what does this look like? What is opening back up? Axis and Crave have opened up. Switch is normally in the chapel, and we do our own thing. However, we can only fit 44 people in that chapel if we're going to conform to social distancing and the CDC and all of that stuff. And I just thought, I just don't like the idea. That number seemed low to me because I just didn't like the idea of having to turn a kid away because, oh, sorry, we're full. Or, okay, we got 40 kids, so only 4 leaders get to serve today, that type of thing. I just didn't like the idea. So we combined switch and axis. This is pretty much what it looks like while all these social distancing regulations and stuff like that are in effect. It's one of those things where Brookwood has decided that we want to obey the governing authorities. I know there are a lot of opinions about masks and stuff like that, but really our stance is we feel like the best way to show love is to just obey the governing authorities, and we're trying to do the best that we can with what we've been given. So that's a big reason why our series for this that we're in right now is called In My Opinion. People got opinions for days, and so we're just letting our kids know, hey, it's cool to have your opinion, just make sure you're communicating it kindly, because there's a lot of the opposite going around right now. So that's pretty much what it looks like. So we're social distancing, as you guys can see with your seats, staying four seats apart, trying to keep them 6 feet apart, all that stuff. We're encouraging students to wear masks because it's not necessary. Leaders and staff, we are wearing masks to be on the safe side. In between services, we have the Ghostbusters who come in. They have their little backpacks and their little and they spray the seats. So the instant I saw them, I was like, Beckman? So it's a bunch of stuff that's inconvenient, and personally, I'm just looking forward to things getting back to normal and stuff because I'm a hugger. I don't want to hug people. I love hugs, man. So looking forward to all that type of stuff. But for the foreseeable future, switch and axis are going to be together, and we'll let you guys know when that is going to change. But normally, switch and axis would be on their own. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end if you guys have any questions about what that looks like or anything.
Another fun thing we're doing, because we got a lot of information, usually we hand it out, and right now we're not really allowed to hand things to people. So if you guys have noticed those beautiful cutout pictures of us, if you haven't, as soon as you walk in, look to your left, or as soon as you walk out of here, going out the door, look to your right, and they're cutouts of all of us in our actual age. Julio is like this big because he is in kindergarten, and Ryan's a little taller because he's in switch.
About the size that I am now.
Yeah, I'm really shrunk down, okay? Real shrunk down. So I'm like this tall. It's like the first day of Axis. So what you guys can do, take out your phones. There's a code on there, and you just scan it. You don't have to take a picture. You just pull up your camera, and it'll automatically open for you. And you click on it, and it goes through all the different information we have available for you. Because usually you come with handed out. So there's Axis and a Switch first-time family card. And that just talks about kind of like, what is the experience? What's it look like to come to Axis or Switch for the very first time? And what do we do? We have a little welcome to Axis, like a booklet, or welcome to Switch booklet. It talks about like all the different changes that are going on in a 5th and 6th grade, in a 7th, 8th grade body. Puberty, that's a real thing. It talks about that, so like some awkward conversations if you need to have them. That's in there. It just talks about like what they're thinking as well. Because some of you guys, maybe you're going through this right now, your 7th and 8th graders just eating a ton, and there's no empty, like you can't figure out how to fill them, but they're still going to sleep. You just don't understand, or they just think they're right all the time. Does anyone know any parents having that problem right now? Only one. Interesting.
The joke that I make with 5th and 6th graders is when they move into Switch, that's when they are turning from a dog into a cat.
It's a great time. Everyone loves
Parents
that time.
are laughing because you know what I'm talking about.
There's also a link that will take you to the family pathway, and that's been a fun thing that we started. It looks like a game board, and it goes through different situations. So I encourage you guys to go on there, and they have different conversations from bullying to how to talk to your kid about faith, and it goes all the way from being born all the way to graduating high school. It looks like a game board. There's a link on there that will take you there, and it's really cool. It has so many different conversations. And if you guys can come up with one that you want to know that's not on there, we will make a video about it, because they're all links to videos and workbooks that we made up to go with these things. So if you guys find something you want us to talk about that we have not, and we encourage you to let us know, and we'll do it. It's one of the things we want to do is help encourage you guys, help you guys partner with parents and kids at the same time. And Ryan, I totally just realized I stole your small group spiel a little bit.
Yeah, you brought up small groups earlier. How many of, so we have a lot of the Access kids. How many of you are in small group kids? Small group? I know you two are. Why is that hand going like this? Hands are meant to go like this. Anyway, we have a lot of students that are in small groups. Brookwood's a big place. And so, but the wonderful thing about Brookwood is it can be a small, intimate place if you get involved with other families and things like that. So small groups are our opportunity to make it smaller and more intimate. And to be honest, I think small groups, I mean, that's part of the heartbeat of what we do. It's an opportunity for an adult leader to pour into your students, so basically the way they're structured is it'll be 1 or 2 adult leaders, anywhere between 4 and 10 kids. And it's, they'll meet outside of church on Sunday mornings. So they might on Sunday afternoons or Wednesday nights or something along those lines. A lot of the time they meet in the house or they meet at Brookwood or whatever that might look like, and pretty much, connect on a deeper level. They might unpack what we're talking about on Sunday. They might be going, a lot of leaders, they just kind of get a feel for the personality, the collective personality of their group, and get a feel for what are my kids, struggling with, or where they need encouragement, things like that. And it just is a wonderful thing to see. And a lot of our groups, we encourage them start in 5th grade, and then they just stay in the same group throughout, their entire student ministry career. And a lot of our high school groups, seniors, they might have been in their group since they were in 5th grade. So there's a level of connection and depth that is just amazing to see. And God is able to do amazing things through that by the leaders who pour into them, by them having community and accountability with one another. So highly recommend small groups. We are, at this point, we are still looking at meeting and all of that stuff, being able to meet in person and all that jazz. But a lot of our small groups, even when all the craziness began in March and April, they were still meeting over Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So small groups can be really, really tight-knit, and it's a wonderful opportunity for your kids to get a little extra love, because this is a crazy time. And there are a lot of bad influences out there. This is the opportunity to put your kid in an arena to where there are very positive, godly influences that are trying to make an impact along with what it is that you're doing. And then on top of that, if that's something, parents, if that's something that you hear and you're like, that's amazing, and you would like to lead, we need 5th grade male and female leaders. So if that's something that you'd be willing to do, you have a daughter or you have a son going in. Oh, something else there. They're split up by graded genders. So 5th grade girl groups, 6th grade girl groups, 5th grade boy groups, 6th grade boy groups. Same with Access. So, but if that's something that sounds great to you and you feel like not only do I want that for my kid, but I feel like I could lead that. I feel like God's telling me to do that. But please have a conversation with us. You can come talk to me. You can talk with Lynn. She's our volunteer coordinator. That would be a great thing. Registrations are live. They're on our webpage, so just go there and you can register your kid. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
That's the perfect question time now, Ryan.
Oh.
So if you guys, does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir, back there in the far back.
How can my students serve?
Okay, the question was, how can my students serve? So the way that looks, we have tech opportunities. So one of the things that I love about what we do here at Brookwood, there are ways for students to serve that I just haven't really seen in a whole lot of places, because we believe in our kids and we want to build them up. We want to help them gain skill sets. A lot of the high schoolers who are going into college and stuff like that, they have a skill set that's way beyond a lot of other people, because they might have learned how to use a soundboard here. They might have run slides for Pro Presenter, or they might have led kids, that type of thing. So tech needs, we might have, we have opportunities for kids to get behind the computer and do slides. We got one person who's interested, so you can talk with Eric in the back later, okay? But running slides, doing lights, things like that, there are opportunities. So if you love tech and you are able to pay attention, that's a big part too, that would be a great serving opportunity. So you can go to Eric and Cameron in the back. For those of you who don't know, Eric is our production guy for Axis. Cameron is our production guy for Switch. So you can have those conversations, but let's go and wait till the meeting's over. I love your enthusiasm, little man.
Also, if God is giving you a talent to play an instrument, I encourage you guys. We do also need people to play up here. We have student-led bands, and we think that's something that's awesome. We love to do. Now, I know some of us can be really shy at first, but if God has given you this ability to play, like, this is a way to serve Him. So you can talk to Jacob. He just walked by, but you can talk to him and be like, hey, and he'll do a little tryout, and he'll slowly progress you through playing in front of people. And it's one of those cool things, because I remember the first time I ever spoke, I know God has given me this ability. It is nerve-wracking. It is one of those things where it can be a little tough to stand up. But if God has given you that ability to serve, then why not use it? And if you get small group leaders, or if you want to do something like even with helping out the babies, right now we're not doing that, but later on you can serve that way. Lynn is out there, and she will sign you up and talk to her about just different possibilities. Because we do everything from, not right now, but we have handing out coffee or just greeting people at the door. What a silly way, and it's something I love to do. But the first thing you do, get out of the car, and someone's just there to say, hey, good morning. That's a simple way of serving.
Any other questions about the ministry, about whatever? Yes. So for the small groups, would it just be 5th and 6th graders? Okay, so the question is, would it be just 5th and 6th graders, or would Switch and Access be combined? For small groups, it's just that grade and gender. So we would not combine with Access for those. It would only be, it's not even 5th and 6th grade boys. It's 5th grade boys for this group, 6th grade boys for this group, 5th grade girls for this group. Does that make sense? Yeah, great question.
Yeah, because one thing I do, we also love at Brookwood, because there's so many things going on, different lives, different ages, different things going on. I'm sure you guys talk to your kids, like one kid could just 2 years of difference, total different life. So we like to stay where they are as well in their life. Good question.
You might have already mentioned this as well, but just to double check. So for the time being, Switch and Access are both to be here on Sunday, right?
So you're confirming that Switch and Access for the time being meet at 9 and 11 at South Campus. That is correct. Yeah. For the foreseeable future, Switch and Access will be here at the 9 and 11 o'clock services at South Campus together. The 9th through 12th grade, they will be here as well, but they start at 4:30. Is that correct? Yes. 4:30 here. Okay, so that was not correct. They come at 4. The programming starts at 4:30. So come, hang out, cut up.
I was just thinking of a high school student. They're getting close to capacity at South Campus over here based on those statistics, which may mean that they will move to the auditorium. We have not made that decision yet. Tonight they will be in the auditorium, so all families will be there and be there for the entire night. But it may come to a place where they have to move to the auditorium for their normal program. But as of right now, they have not made that decision.
Okay, so for Craig, they're doing a freshman dinner tonight, and they could potentially move to the auditorium because there are too many people. I'm repeating for the video for people at home.
Also, you have to register for that freshman dinner because they got special box meals. So it's one of those things I don't think you can just show up tonight. You'll be able to hear the spiel, but you won't be able to eat, and you might have to be really far away because they're doing box food because of the situation going on right now.
Great questions. Yes. Do you need to register for Switch on Sunday mornings for your kid to come? No. Just show up, check in, we're good to go. At this point, we're not hitting capacity, so we're fine. Yeah. No need to register, just show up, you're good to go. And even if, the thing about, even with the main service and whatnot, we encourage the registration so that we have an idea of how many people are going to be in the main service and stuff. But if people show up, we're still able to get them checked in. We're still able to go and all of that jazz. Great questions. Anyone else? Yes. So drop off and pick up. Yeah. So normally in Switch, we would normally have it, since we're up in the chapel, I would have a tag, and then you could sign something that would put a check mark on their tag. And if they have a check mark on the tag, that means that you have given us permission to let them go when the service lets out. So when we open the doors, the kids grow their wings and they fly off into the distance. And hopefully that distance has you. But if they don't have that check mark, we keep them at the doors until you come. That's how it would normally look. Here at Swaxis, again, social distancing and all that stuff, making sure that everyone connects with their parents, just being as safe as possible. When you come, you drop them off, kick them out of the car, and they'll roll and they'll come and they'll check in and all that stuff. And then at the end of the service with them, come back, and then we'll connect them with you, and they'll come out to you in the car. But we don't want kids walking up right now. Normally, Axis is able to do that, but because we have Swaxis together, we just want to make sure everyone's connecting with their parents and staying as safe as possible.
Yes, normally, when everything is back to normal, when we get there, they can, in Axis, like you have that conversation, do you want them to walk up or do you want to come and get them? So normally would, but right now, because we are Swaxis, we're doing it all the same way. And so kids are just walking up during this. Good question.
Cool. Anyone else? All right, well, I'll go ahead and pray us out. Again, appreciate you guys coming. If you have any further questions, concerns, or need for sound financial advice, just let us know. And we'll be in the back. We'll be around, all of that stuff. Feel free to email us, ryan.hendrick@brookwoodchurch.org, chris.burch@brookwoodchurch.org, Burch with a U.
Also, if you guys didn't get a donut yet, we still have donuts. So
get donuts.
Get some donuts.
It's from the place called Donuts. So you know they're good because it's the name of the product is the name of the place. All right, I'll go ahead and pray. God, thank you for this day. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for how you're protecting us and how you are bringing us together, even during a time where isolation is a struggle for everyone. So God, thank you for how you're working. I pray that you would give all of us ears to hear and eyes to see what it is that you're doing. I pray that you would help each of us to ask, God, what is it that you want me to know during this time? Thank you for these students. Thank you for how they're maturing and they're moving up into different phases of life. I pray that you would be with these families, God, with these parents, grandparents, guardians, whoever. God, I pray that you would bless them. Thank you for their willingness to come here and to learn and to be a part of what their student is moving into. That speaks volumes about their character, about who they are, and about how much they love their kids. And so, God, I pray that you would bless these parents, that you would give them strength, that you would give them courage, that you would give them knowledge, wisdom, and discernment moving forward. But, God, I pray first and foremost that they would keep their relationship with you key, that they would go to you, that they would run to you with all of the difficulties, that they would celebrate with you, whatever that looks like, God, and that you would be they would be aware of your presence as they raise their kids. And God, be with these students, protect and watch over them, keep them safe. And God, I pray that you would grab a hold of them early so that they can make an impact for your kingdom today. Thank you for the awesome ways that you're using us, God, and I pray that you would bless us in the days to come. Help us to follow you. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, thank you guys. It's been wonderful having you. You're feel free to